So this news just broke in the last hour. The Department of Government Efficiency, run by Elon Musk, got access earlier today to the U.S. Treasury Department's payment system. And they discovered that basically no one has ever denied there's basically no oversight. Now you know why there's trillions missing from different federal departments, including the Pentagon.
On Saturday, Alex Jones reported on the Doge team, including Elon Musk, of course, gaining access to the United States Treasury Department's payment system while shirtless in front of a fireplace. You know, his trademark look. Now, in response,
why, Alex?
Why not?
Why not? You do that?
I've seen that man without a shirt way more times than I ever wanted to.
Well, you speak for America.
Yeah. In response to an ex-user who asked why, he did answer that question, Cenk. He said, I had just gotten out of the hot tub and wanted to do a report. Good to know.
I'm pretty sure that it would take you about 10 seconds to put on a shirt.
But anyway, this is actually an incredibly important story. So not to make light of it, but I thought that moment was hilarious. Now, let's get to the details of what's going on here. Let's dive right in. The Treasury's payment system is run by the Bureau of Fiscal Service, and it processes a massive amount of transactions. So these sensitive systems control the flow of more than $6 trillion annually to households, businesses, and more nationwide. Tens, if not hundreds of millions of people across the country rely on the systems, which are responsible for distributing Social Security and Medicare benefits, salaries for federal personnel, payments to government contractors and grant recipients, and tax refunds, among tens of thousands of other functions. Now, Elon Musk, much like what you heard from Alex Jones, is making some very serious allegations about malfeasance within the system. On Friday, he wrote that the Doge team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once, he claims. He didn't provide any evidence at all for that, but we looked into it, and guess what? There is evidence of at least some ways of preventing fraud in the system. According to Politico, improper payments across the government spiked in recent years when Congress approved massive new relief programs to help Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. Federal agencies reported $236 billion in improper payments in the 2024 fiscal year. The bulk came from Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, pandemic relief loans to small businesses, Treasury's earned income tax credit, and Social Security payments. So that does happen. The fraud sometimes does happen. But to say that there's no system in place to prevent fraud is ridiculous, because there is. The system has a do not pay portal that lets users verify whether or not a recipient is eligible to receive a payment from the federal government. The Bureau of Fiscal Service also has a payments integrity office dedicated to preventing fraud. It's part of the reason why we know about the fraud that I just listed in regard to the COVID relief money. Now, per the New York Times, the Doge operatives who now have access to the system have been made government employees, passed background checks, and received proper security clearances. So at least you can say that that has happened. But again, Elon Musk is not some elected official. And for him to have, he's an entrepreneur. He has multiple corporations that he is the CEO of. Okay, he's got multiple conflicts of interest here. And the idea that this guy should have access to all of our personal information through the Treasury is insane. And look, Trump was asked why it's important for Elon Musk to have access to the Treasury's payment system. Here's what he had to say in response.
Well, he's got access only to letting people go that he thinks are no good if we agree with him. And it's only if we agree with him. He's a very talented guy from the standpoint of management and costs. And we put him in charge of seeing what he can do with certain groups and certain numbers. Some of the numbers are horrible, what he's found. Think of it, $100 million on condoms to Hamas, and many other things that are frankly even more ridiculous. Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate. Where not appropriate, we won't.
Oh my God, okay. we did not send condoms to Hamas in Gaza. That just didn't happen. We debunked that story last week. He said it was $50 million worth of condoms to Hamas. Today, he just decided to double it to $100 million.
Yeah.
There was money appropriated to Gaza for HIV prevention, but it's Gaza and Mozambique.
They're two different Gazas.
Yeah, anyway.
Would have been nice to check. Okay, and by the way, that number will keep going up. The 50 million would have bought 1 billion condoms. I don't think Hamas is that large. And now apparently 100 million will buy you 2 billion condoms in case you need it. There's no end to the absurdity there. Okay, now I want to tell you something really important here. Tom Krause is CEO of a Silicon Valley company called Cloud Software Group, okay? He also has access to the Treasury information because he's part of the Doge team. And so that's just one of the guys that was reported. I would like to know who's the entire Doge team. Is it all Silicon Valley CEOs? And so let's get this right. A bunch of donors go in and give a presidential candidate a ton of money. One of them is the wealthiest man in the world, and he gives them the most. He gives them over $250 million in order to seize power, and they do. And then that candidate, once he's president, turns around and says, hey, my top donor, why don't you have unfettered access to the Treasury? Now let's pause. I don't know if anyone is capable of being fair, but shoe on the other foot. Imagine Biden wins and he goes, oh great, George Soros was my top donor. By the way, that's not true, but if it was.
If that happened.
That happened, well, it doesn't matter that he's not the top donor, he's one of his top donors, okay?
Yeah.
And he says, George Soros, you now have unfettered access to the Treasury Department. What do you think the reaction would be? I know what my reaction would be. Hell no. Are you insane? Are you insane? You're gonna hand the Treasury Department over to one of your goddamn donors? Right wing, do you have principles? Do we? I mean, this puts you to the test. And you know what? I'm now seeing, and even Piers Morgan did it this morning. He's like, yes, but Elon Musk is different because he's very, very smart.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. I've got to address that in a couple of different ways. Number one, George Soros, whether you like him or not, is one of the most successful investors in human history. Also very smart. So should we give him access to the Treasury Department? Just the fact that you're smart doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Number two, did it ever occur to them that he's so smart that maybe he did this for his own advantage instead of just doing it for the benefit of the American people? And okay, so look, you get it. This is insanity. And it's not just Musk. You guys sound like like mainstream media when I would question Nancy Pelosi's donors. They'd be like, what do you mean? Those are the good billionaires.
Right.
Those are the good donors. So you don't want to sound like mainstream media, and that's right now what MAGA sounds like when they go, oh yeah, sure, have the Treasury Department. Let's see how it turns out. So look, we asked the poll question, but it's super important because we're gonna get to a fact that's critical here. What do you think Doge is going to do with the Treasury Department system? It's in the live chat on YouTube. Watch the show live 6 to 8 p.m. Love the interaction with you guys. A, nothing. B, view payments. C, block payments. D, steal Treasury money. Okay, now we think we have some good news for you on that.
Yeah, we do.
So let's share that with you guys, and then I'll tell you why I'm still concerned.
So let me just preface this by saying, I am not happy and I do not agree with the idea that these unelected, oligarchs, these tech billionaires and these entrepreneurs have all this access to viewing this Treasury payment system. Okay, because it has all this private information, this is wrong. So even with what they have access to, this is bad. Now, for those concerned that Elon Musk would have the ability to stop payments to Americans, maybe Social Security payments, Medicare payments, things like that, it appears he does not have that kind of access. He's able to view, but he's not able to take any actions. So let's get to the details on that. So let's go to graphic 8. According to reporting in Politico, the Doge team doesn't have the capability to withhold or change payments, at least not yet. Instead, access by Doge's Treasury representative, software executive Tom Krause, is read only. However, Musk is vowing to stop payments, but those payments are approved by Congress. Congress has the power of the purse. This is how our government is structured. It's our system of checks and balances. He is not able to unilaterally stop, congressionally appointed funding from going to where it is supposed to go. So his idea of doing this is illegal, and so I'm sure there will be challenges to it if he attempts to do it. And time will tell if Musk is bluffing or if he will do so anyway, and kind of test his luck with our courts. Additionally, if Musk wants to change the way the payment system operates, well, that would be subject to an internal review process by the Treasury Department's officials.
Yeah, we hope. So first of all, viewing the information is already disastrous. So let's say you're an opponent of Elon Musk, whether it's a political person who's spoken out against him, or you're an opponent of his in business world, right? He now can look up all of your information through the Treasury Department, your social security number, hey, are you paying your taxes? And you can say, oh, well, he'll just bust the guys who aren't paying their taxes. Will he? What if they're his allies? What if they're their fellow Silicon Valley CEOs that are looking at that information? And you're telling me all those guys are never going to use it against their competitors, even though we just gave them all of the access in the world? That's insanity. So hell no, you wouldn't trust a Democrat to do it. If you're on the right, you shouldn't trust the right wing. You shouldn't trust any donor to do this. This is insanity. And then secondly, once he starts cutting payments, well, you say, well, technically he can, Anna's right. Except they just did it at USAID, even though technically they can't, and it's illegal. What they're doing is, what are you gonna do, impeach us? You've already fired all your bullets, you can't touch us. So we're just gonna break any law we like and see how it turns out. So then Anna's right, it's gonna go to the courts, and then the courts have to go, no, you're not allowed to do that, and so let's all cross our fingers that that's what happens. So far the courts have held.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good news. And then finally, they say that they can't redirect payments. Like, so one thing's stopping payments, the other is having payments go somewhere else, right? So that has to hold. I'm a little worried about it because now the precedent is Elon Musk goes around the federal government and goes, USAID, you're now closed. And then when they question him, he goes back to Daddy Trump, and Daddy Trump says, yes, you're all suspended, the building's closed down, Elon runs the government now, right? So at the Treasury, if he goes, now I'm redirecting payments to this offshore account, are they gonna have the courage to challenge him? Are they gonna say, no, you're not allowed to do that, that's illegal? I hope so, and probably. But now we're taking chances. So I'm 1,000,000,000% against this. It makes no sense at all. And guys, as always, let's be constructive. What's the right way to do it? You've got problems with money that's being spent at the Treasury? No problem. You've got access to all the information. Look at their budget, look at their line item. When it's time for the budget negotiations, you guys are in charge. You've got Congress, you've got the White House, you've got everything you need.
Yeah.
Be insistent on stopping payments that you don't agree with. And by the way, that might be unpopular. But going in and I now run the place because I was Trump's top donor, is disaster 101.
Let me explain something real quick and then we gotta wrap up because I know the left gets uncomfortable when I complain about taxes, but I'm gonna complain about taxes. I see how much money gets taken out of my check every pay cycle and it gets allocated specifically to Social Security and Medicare. I am not interested in having a conversation about Elon freaking Musk taking a look at how the Treasury is dispersing Social Security and Medicare payments, okay? That's money that we have specifically paid into. I'm angry about this, okay? This is not okay. This is not okay, it's not up for debate, it's not up for negotiation. We have paid into this system. The idea of potentially ripping it away from Americans freaking infuriates me like you wouldn't believe.
And they're gonna try, guys. So, and I'm telling, look, I go and I talk to the right wing hosts, I come back and tell you they're anti-war. Some folks don't believe it, but that's good news and it's true. I'm telling you they're mad that Israel's still getting money when no one else is, that's true. But I can also tell you a lot of right wing hosts are talking about cutting Social Security. You guys touch that Social Security money and you're gonna have your political heads removed, okay? Again, never anything physical, I'm just talking about politics.
Right.
Okay, poke the bear, see how it turns out for you. But I don't know why you would be so monumentally stupid, but I do know why. Because all this, one of our members talked about it, I'll read it during the social break, is all this effort is so that they can make enough room for giant tax cuts for the richest people in the country and the largest corporations, including Elon Musk. So they are cut, oh, we're helping and saving the American people. My ass, they're gonna save about 10% of the tax cuts. And then they're gonna say, we saved plenty, we cut AIDS funding to Africa, we're such heroes. That's why we should now get a $4 trillion tax cut for Elon Musk and his Silicon Valley CEO friends. So that robbery is headed straight in your direction. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.